would be the, what do we call it, the Guta, the Guta PRO, the public relations officer of Guta. Guta is what? Is a Ghana Union of Traders Association, something like that. Guta. Their PRO has agreed to come and share some few points with us here on NFM Radio. So, like I said, just stay back, relax, join me when you can, and let's explore, let's discuss all matters of interest to everybody, anyone in Ghana.
NFM Radio.
Right, so Osibisa, he said, fire will burn you. I always have to, come out with a disclaimer, with a caveat that we are not here to get, set fire onto anybody or try to burn anybody's hair, or anybody's beard. Yes, you'll be able to say. We are okay with everything. And so the fire will burn you metaphorically means that when you come on board, the questions and the answers, you see, sometimes even me, myself, fire burn me. You see what I mean? So don't be afraid that fire will burn you small. But the truth of the matter is that we have a lot to discuss. You see, today in Ghana, apparently, our chief, the Chief Justice, a lady, a woman, a very learned woman called Madame Tokonu. Apparently, Tokonu has left town. She is not in town, so the Supreme Court has ceased to function. Can you believe it? I've not heard or seen anywhere this one before. Not even places where we have a gendarme military buga governance. It won't happen. That the Chief Justice says, look, I'm leaving. As for certain decisions, I'm the only one who can make those decisions. How does the Constitution actually provide such, strength or such, power in the hands of one person that the Chief Justice can decide that if it comes to certain crucial matters, she's the only one. And that if and when, or, anything happens, she is sick or something, Then they will tell you that, no, we have to wait for the chief of staff to come back to town. So these are some of the things we are going to discuss. As it is, the other issue, the biggest, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is corruption. A small matter of corruption. Ghana now is so corrupt, we are first. It is so corrupt that, you see, monies are going away. They are vanishing into thin air. So whether, you see, it is that the monies are just getting lost, it's the corruption. Ghana is so corrupt that now, I think if there was a league match or a competition, if there was an Olympic, or some Olympic sports called corruption, I am very sure Ghana will win. I am quite sure Kufuor's Ghana will win hands down. Now, what do you say? So, like I say, join me anytime you want. Join me on either Facebook, on YouTube, or the Zoom link if you have it. If you don't have these things, you can call 0208 123-5911 or 07876 251 261. Just do that, and we will all be sailing on the same boat together.
Sydney Discotheque, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo. Del mundo.
Okay, what? Ojaye! Ojaye!
Right. So I'm waiting for my first caller to tell me why some people are arguing with me that when I say Ghana is too corrupt or we are the corruption capital of the world, some people are arguing with me saying, no, Mansa Musa, you can't say that. Even though I've already said that. You see what I mean? So if you agree with me or not, call me and let me know. I'm saying we Ghanaians and Ghana in particular, Ghana as a country, the people inside the country, we are too corrupt. Obviously, when they come outside, those living in Europe and the rest, the system will not allow you to be corrupt. Even though we turn out to do some things here and there, I understand that before you can get your papers and regularize your stay and the rest of it, I know, it involves a little bit of maneuvering, you see, but the pure, how do I say it, original corruption or the natural corruption as it is known. We those outside Ghana cannot be said to be too corrupt. But of course, when we get back to Ghana, we are inside Ghana, then you got to be corrupt. You got to be corrupt to not to gain advantage, but to receive or get normal services, to be able to attain simple services or requirement that should be taken for granted or that should be given for free. Or sometimes these things are not for free, but at least it is, okay, thank you. They are not for free, but when it is assumed that when you have paid the official price, the cost of whatever you are looking for, you should get the result, or you should get, what do we call it, the services. But in Ghana, when you have already paid or for the official price, the cost of certain services that you require, you still have to donate some cash to somebody in order for them to do a job or provide a service for which he or she has been paid already. It is so bizarre. So it's in our DNA that we are so corrupt. Ya corrupt ya ma corruption ni kura sure me say Ghana no ya corrupt ya ma corruption akasa osure. I will go for one or two sound bites. When I come back, we will continue.
Cecilia Abnadapa, well done. Well done. I thought you were a woman and a mother who had compassion. They said, give a position to a woman and she'll do far better than a man. But these days, what do we see? It's sad. It's disheartening. Year in, year out, flood affects people in Accra. The Odo River gets flooded. Lives are destroyed. Properties are destroyed. You said you used $43 million to clean the Odo River. Have you seen what $43 million could do in Dubai or in Europe or in America? Shame unto you. It's so sad. It's so disheartening. We live in this country. People cannot even afford 1 meal a day. And some people out there who have very little are trying everything possible to reach out to those who don't have any. But you, the politicians, all you think about is grabbing. You have only one child, I was told. You have only one child, and you are grabbing all these properties for only one child. How about those kids in our front plains those kids at the north, those kids in the Volta region somewhere, those kids in remote villages in Ashanti region, in Central region, in every part of Ghana. Look, there was a kid I met in Sogakope. They are so poor that there are 3 siblings. Every morning, their meal is yesterday banku with raw pepper, no tomatoes, just pepper and salt, with no fish. The day I asked my mother to give them soup, it was like, you are bringing kids from the war zone who haven't eaten for a year. When they saw soup in a plate that day, oh, politicians are wicked in this country. You people cannot even afford to go to hospitals. I have a little charity. My colleagues from work and my friends, they help me with their little income, and we reach out to people in the remote parts of the Volta region. They have nothing, absolutely nothing to eat. You guys are just there amassing Ghana's wealth, misusing donors' funds. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? And today's Sunday, July 23rd, 2023, I believe most of you are in your churches praising God, thanking God for bringing Ghana down. Aren't you ashamed of yourselves? It's so disheartening what you people are doing to Ghana. It's so sickening what you people are doing to Ghana. I go to the villages and I see kids who do not have anything to do, who do not have anything to eat. There are people who are sick. They can't go to hospitals. Even they go to the hospitals, they give them paracetamol. This national health insurance, you buy a loaf of bread in Kuala, you pay national health insurance. Yet, donors are putting money into this national health insurance, but you guys are just looting the money, and people go to hospitals, you give them paracetamol. Why are you doing this to Ghana? Why? Why are you doing this to Ghana? Oh, don't you have heart? Don't you have compassion? Don't you have sympathy? Don't you have feelings for people? It is sad. And you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
Right. So, Mamina Kasaye, or see, you guys, that is all of us Ghanaians, should be ashamed of ourselves. Now then, welcome to the show. If you've just joined, Mansa Musa, I am ready to rock and roll. So, I can only assume that you are also ready to rock and roll. Anyway, okay, thank you. So, as they say, it is what it is. Welcome to the show. My other issue we're gonna discuss tonight is Jean Adukwe Mensa. She happens to be the electoral commissioner in Ghana. Honestly speaking, that woman, you people must watch her. Someone got to advise this woman. Because the simple truth is that everywhere on this planet, you see, gone were the days that people fought battles because of, let's say, the availability or non-availability of water. For instance, there is a lake or a river, a pond, anything. One group of people will claim ownership of that water body to the utter, this agreement of the other, other group. So in the end, they will come to war, they will come to blows, they will fight. Whoever wins take the whole water. Then people were fighting over land, people fighting over, wealth, minerals, everything. Even I know some situation where people have had disputes, over some ownership of part of the sea. To recall, Ghana went into battle with Cote d'Ivoire, not, in the literal sense. But we went challenging that part of the sea is ours. There is oil in the ocean, and that part of the ocean is ours. Cote d'Ivoire people, they thought they can challenge. So in the end, it went to the International Court of Arbitration and everything. And straight away, everybody got to know that in the end, it is ours. I don't know why Africans, we are always prepared, ready and prepared, to be supervised by some people else. I don't know. Because the truth of the matter, whenever the drawings of the map and the globe and everywhere is made with the agreement of all countries, where some boundaries are disputed, sometimes it's not clear. But sometimes it is so clear that for any country, especially we Africans, when we say we have formed a tight unit, a body, to bring us all together. All the bodies, the groups, the organizations that's supposed to bring Africans together, those meetings have just been a talking shop where we talk and they translate, and that will be the end of it. The other time I was saying something, I said that, can you believe it, that the whole of Africa, with this enormous capacity, enormous quantity and quality of wealth in our soils, the enormity of the wealth that Africa has, and yet Africans are so poor that it took the Chinese people, Chinese government, to come help build, finance and build the AU, African Unity headquarters in Addis Ababa. I mean, can you think? Can you imagine? And they will tell you that some of the African countries are so poor. They are so poor that they cannot afford their, normal, dues or, the payments that they have to make. Meanwhile, those countries who claim or who are supposed to be so poor that they cannot afford their dues or their part of the monies they have to pay into the AU, the African Union, and the ECOWAS and other regional bodies, they form our associations, and you pay dues. And they say some countries are so poor they cannot even pay. Meanwhile, those countries, if you go into it properly, investigate, you see that country has got so much wealth. As we speak, we know the situation in Nigeria, where Tinubu, the Nigerian black African president, who wants to go to war with Niger. For those of you who don't know the intricacies, the main reasons, you see, now that the geopolitics is such that it has come to it comes to a head, it has come to that end where everyone is looking for their survival. The West European Union, the NATO group don't want anything to do with Russia. And so France, for instance, is going around, and most of European countries, Germany in particular, going around looking for gas or energy from anywhere, fossil energy, fossil fuel, from anywhere they can get. It so happened that Nigeria has so much oil and also so much gas to spare. So the plan is that a pipeline will be built from Nigeria across, the lands of what we call it, Niger, through, I think, part of Mauritania, or maybe through Algeria, then over to wherever the pipeline will have to end up in France or in Europe. Well, it's not a bad idea. If Europeans are in loggerheads, they can't think together, do anything together, they hate one another, they hate some parts of Europe, and so they want to fall on Africa for help, fine, it's not a problem. It will help bring a lot of currency, a lot of money to Nigeria and to West Africa. I support that. So if Tinubu wants to encourage the construction, construction of pipeline from Lagos or from Abuja, wherever, from Nigeria to southern part of France or Portugal or Spain, anywhere, it's a good idea. But this has come, now the problem is that the Niger government has changed. The government in Niger has changed, and this government in Niger is not hostile to Nigeria, but rather hostile to France. The new Niger administration say they are very hostile to France. They are not hostile to Nigeria. So the Nigerese are saying that, hey, this pipeline across our land to serve, to serve and to save France, we are not in favor. Maybe this is, just what we call the hot air cheap talk. Maybe we can discuss it and they will change their minds. But for Nigeria, a black African country, to travel with troops to go and fight and kill people in Niger in order to, what we call it, to reinstate or to install a government that will be, satisfactory to everybody, including the West. For Nigerians to do that, in order for them to build, get permission to get a pipeline going, I think this is, to say the least, abominable. This shouldn't happen. This is not how it should happen. As we speak again, Tinubu himself, if, depending on who you listen, depending on the two different sides in Nigeria, you listen to one group, they will say, comparatively or relatively, elections were good. Now he's the president, we have to move on. We want peace. Then when we ask the other guys, the other people, they tell, hey, this is too much. The guy has bullied and, bludgeoned and, something like, he has maneuvered his way up to become the president. And so he's not genuine president. I wouldn't know anything about it, not so much. But what I know is, if we are all in West Africa, and there is a project that will benefit Nigeria, the project will benefit Niger as well. And the biggest beneficial of that project is France. I really don't know how Nigeria and why Nigeria should even contemplate going to war against Niger. What you see? And that is, we have not even spoken about corruption in anything. as they say, if you joke, I can talk about corruption until I close. Sorry about YouTube. My camera is telling me, the camera itself is telling me. Now these people, these gadgets, they are very clever. Camera is telling me, hey, I'm too hot. So it has switched itself off. And automatically, a fan has come on. And that fan is blowing the camera until the camera is satisfied. Then the camera will come back again. So those of you on YouTube, you see that I've just put the NFM logo until the #1 camera is ready. So there we are. Anyway, maybe I'll set up #2 camera, but let's carry on. Tonight, I'm saying the conversation centers around what is happening in Ghana. I mean, who would have thought that a country, a whole country, its Chief Justice, when she leaves the city, she's out of town, excuses come or some reasons for certain business not to be conducted will emerge. It's just strange, really. A reason will emerge saying that the Chief Justice says if anyone wants to file a petition or an injunction to put a stop or suspend any activity or something that someone doesn't understand, needing a clarification or wanting a clarification, that injunction cannot be set in motion because she, the chief of staff, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, the country's Chief Justice, is saying when she is not sitting behind his desk, it means these functions cannot happen. What do you say? As simple as that. So as we speak, 5 political organizations have sent an injunction asking the court to intervene in a case between the political parties and the manager of our election, which is the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission has proposed certain rules that limited voters registering or register is going to be opened. When they say limited, that means it has got what we call it, a date or an end date. When registers are open, usually they open throughout. So for the whole year and maybe 2 years, anyone, as we speak, look, my borough, the council, the area I live, they've sent me a letter to confirm I'm still there, and that's all they need. If I move to other place, I have to consult that area council and tell them that I've just moved in here, blah, blah, blah. So it is just continuous. You can re-register. Or they will bring your what do you call, your documents and your previous details, profile and the rest. They will bring it onto their system. But registration is going on. In Ghana, this electoral commissioner who is not allowed to want in anything. When I say he's not allowed to want in anything, it's everything and anything that she asks for in terms of the equipment, gadgets, in terms of the money value for things that have to be purchased in order to make elections successful, this electoral commissioner, no matter the shortage in our finances, no matter how Akufo-Addo and his people has crashed the economy, they always, or we Ghanaians always find money to be given to the electoral commission. So for the electoral commission to decide to hold a limited registration at a designated, unique designated area center, which is the district offices of the electoral commission. So the district maybe will have, I don't know, 2-3 constituencies, or it will have, I don't know, many constituencies. The district and the polling centers or polling where the voting takes place, plenty, different in that particular one district. So imagine that if everyone, a new registration, new people, applicants to register, people who want to vote for the first time and they want to register, if they have to travel to just one particular center, which is the district, which is sometimes very far from their place of abode or from the place they live, very far, they have to spend money on transport and this and that. Last time I heard one NPP, government official giving commentary on this Good Morning Ghana Metro TV program, saying that, but that's distance you can walk. And according to, if I checked Google, for that fellow to say that with a smile on his face, why will somebody, just because if there was no agenda, why will anybody in MPP, pretend, or even just say pretend, but why will anybody support this particular plan or this particular Jean Mensa's directives? Why will anyone support? To make things difficult for voters or would-be voters to go and register? Where does this happen? That's why I'm saying this electoral commission, anything she asks, anything she wants, she gets it. In terms of money, every time. The other time, they mentioned some serious gadgets, equipments that were purchased, but according to people who voted, none of these equipment were seen. Biometric exposure and biometric and all this and that, facial recognition things, it didn't happen. But monies were issued for those things. And so why the Electoral Commission does not want to see it fit to make it easier for people to register, it beats any understanding. I don't understand it. So many people do not understand this. That Electoral Commission, the commission which must facilitate must facilitate the easy access to and for everyone, or the easier access. In our country where the sun shines almost 24/7, the heat, the dust, just traveling to and fro an exciting event is stressful enough. But just going to register, anything can happen and you could be turned back that, no. We can't register you today because maybe your documents are not accurate or they are not in order or they are not full or anything. Can you come back tomorrow, present, a full document or anything? And if you have to travel even 10 kilometers to that district office to go and register, and you are lucky to have a lift that day, someone gave you a lift, so you travel free. Maybe going back, you have to pay your way back. Then tomorrow again, hoping that you can get registered, you will find your own way, spend money to go get registered. You see? Oh, sorry. So, the whole thing is that, as they say, the word is recipe. This is going to be, or this is a recipe for everything chaos. Apart from that, imagine that Jean Mensa says you can go and register only at this Electoral Commission, what we call district offices. The point is, if you go to the district and register, you are able to convince the officials that you live in that district. Maybe that district covers about 3 or 4 constituencies, or even 2. So now that you have registered at the district office, you can choose where to vote. So anybody in Ghana can now decide to say, I live in that district and this is my voting area. Jean Mensa is completely wrong. And this shouldn't have been partisan at all. This shouldn't have been partisan issue. This should have been straightforward, common sense discussion. Even the ruling party must come in to say, hey, madam, what are you trying to do? But then, as some have already suggested, and it could be true, that the agenda is to, deprive certain people of their voting rights. They will be frustrated to the point they will decide not to register at all. And also, the second point is that this is a plan, a grand, skirmish to provide advantage to some group of, people, some other party. They have the money. The ruling party has the monies. As we speak, we are talking about corruption. Monies that are missing and we can't find. Billions that cannot be accounted for. Which Akufo-Addo or Bawumia and all, they don't care. They don't want to care. They don't want to bother. Because obviously, those monies, we can safely tell you that those monies, they know where they are. And knowing where they are, they feel it is safe where they are. Fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen, this Jean Adukwe Mensa, the Electoral Commissioner, I can see, you see, when Akufo-Addo 2016 made reference to the Arab Spring, I can see it coming on the horizon, as they say, on the horizon. It's very possible. It's very possible that some people behind the scenes have made it their cardinal sort of objective to do everything to make sure that their party win. And everything includes fair and foul. You see what I mean? Everything includes fair and foul. That is the problem. We, as a people, we cannot continue living on the hopes and suggesting and aspirations that, we are peaceful, we are peaceful, we are peaceful. Many people have come to realize that because of that notion that we Ghanaians are peaceful, some in the country, some in the society are taking the advantage. I'm urging Ghanaians that whether you are NDC or MPP, you should not support what Jean Mensa is doing. Or what everybody, me, myself, and lots of people are looking for is that now it is 1-1. No, it's a draw game. Perhaps Mahama and his people cheated Akufo-Addo 2013. 2020, Akufo-Addo replied in kind and cheated Mahama. Finished. Finito. All what we are asking for is genuine, free and fair election. If Ghanaians will be so gullible to receive huge amount of monies and they want to vote for Akufo-Addo's party to retain power, so be it. You see, if the decision to vote for a government, vote for a party depend on how much they can feed you, not how much they can provide long-lasting, development programs to enhance living. I mean, to make life a bit more livable. If that is not the objective, but the objective is to look for a quick money from politicians to vote for them, all right, fine. So far as the voters, the voting, the papers, the ballot are clean and genuine. If somebody goes to collect money to vote for one party, fine. At least we know whether they were bought or not. The voting, the papers, the counting, everything is genuine. That's what we are asking for. A free and fair. We don't want any shenanigans. For some people who think that it is their, what we call it, a divine right to your GMI. You see what I mean? Those people who think it is their divine authority, their right to rule Ghana, and so are very determined to hold on to power. I will not begrudge you for trying to hold on to power, but do everything the right way. Even if you have stolen the monies and you are going to share it to people for them to vote for you, okay, fine, go ahead. But make sure that the voting, the papers, the ballot, everything is clean. When they count and you, the people who bought the vote, had the greater number of votes, fine, continue. But when we feel and we can see that there is some sort of a plan, some objective behind certain actions to make sure that at all costs, through unfair means, through foul means, one party will gain superiority over the other, that will bring that, they say the word is recipe. It's a recipe for disaster. Word to the wise is enough. Word to the wise.
NFM Radio.
NFM Radio.
Ayo.
Sydney Discotheque, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo.
Oye. anoma koliwa. Anoma koliwa, 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 anoma koliwa. Anoma koliwa, 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 anoma koliwa. Anoma koliwa, 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 anoma koliwa.
Right, so that is Osibisa, beautiful, beautiful song. How for this song, I tell you, in my day, in my generation, that's the music we listened to. Osibisa was Ghana's shining light when it comes to music. Believe me, the guys were so good. I tell you, say his brother, the late Mark Tonto, and the rest of the crew. Beautiful, beautiful sound. We say Ujai, Uja. I remember when Osibisa, I forgot it was 84 or 86 or. Whatever time it was, I remember those days when the Osibisa came to town. It was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Now the Osibisa, just keep quiet for us a little bit as I go to Accra to speak to this gentleman who happens to be the PRO for the Guta Group. Guta, I think, is a Ghana Union of Traders, Ghana Union Traders Association. Anyway, I'll let him explain himself where he's coming from. Mr. Paddy, good evening.
Hi, evening.
So Guta, you see the acronym, I can't get it right. What is Guta?
Oh, thanks very much. Let me say good evening to your viewers and your listeners. Guta stands for Ghana Union of Traders Association. It's made up of a group of associations that have come together to form the union. So it's an association. So we have Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association. We have Okanshi dealers, the clothes dealers. We have Opera Electrical Dealers. We have the Haberdashery Confectionery Dealers. And we are national in character. When you go to Ashanti region, we have Swami Magazine and all those people. So it's an associations that have come together to form GUTA. That's Ghana Union of Traders Associations. So that's what we stand for, yes. And we seek the welfare of the trading community. I think we are the largest association in the country at the moment. So we seek the welfare of the business community in the country.
I see. And GUTA includes both importers and exporters, right? Hello, Mr. Paddy.
Hi, yeah, your line is faint, yes.
Okay, sorry. Then don't worry, I will get it right because sometimes it's like this. My question is, GUTA includes importers and exporters, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, your GUTA group is made up of exports and imports. I mean, exporters, importers.
As well, yes. We are into importation of goods and services. We do import and export as well. We do manufacturers representatives. we do distributions. So in a nutshell, when all the trading community in the country, we seek their welfare. We are their mouthpiece. So we have import and export. Mostly, and you know that at the moment, most of our product lines are basically import dependent country, because there's nothing to write to when it comes to production in the country at the moment. So mostly Ghana is an import dependent country where we are all struggling to see how best we can help ourselves to be productive inclined. Because as I'm talking to you now, cost of production in the country is extremely expensive. So it's difficult for people to go into production. That is why you see most of us going into importation of goods and services.
I see. So a lot of people have now turned to importation of almost everything, and you are the mouthpiece.
Exactly so.
Exactly so. It's strange you mentioned that when it comes to making of things or production or manufacturing, it's nothing to write home about. We spent lots of millions, or if not billions, of our cities promoting this particular program of one district, one factory. Is it not having any effect in the overall total sort of outcomes when it comes to production or manufacture of things?
Yes, I agreed. It was a laudable idea that comes from government. But see, the difficulty here is that as a country, we don't have a national agenda. All that we have is a political agenda, political manifestos. So it's difficult for people to run with those programs, as good as it may be. I can assure you, when another government comes to power, the 1D, 1F will change its color and turn to something else. So as long as we don't have a national agenda, we're going to see and the reason why we don't see the materialization of some of this 1D and 1F is as a result of cost of doing business in the country is extremely high as a result of high tax rate in the country. Because cumulatively in this country, our tax rate stands about 21 to 25%. So which manufacturing concern can go into production with this tax rate? Now, in importation, tax rate is about 51%, which means if you import a goods worth about $10,000, you are paying a duty of about $5,000. So which business can survive under this regime? So as long as we position our tax rate to that posture, it will be difficult for people to go into manufacturing. That is what I say.
Are you saying that it's still profitable to pay huge taxes and import than to rely on homegrown manufacturing stuff, which is much profitable? I didn't get that side. If you can explain.
No. Even the homegrown companies are struggling to go into manufacturing. As I spoke to you earlier on, cost of production is high, so people are not even going into production because they can't even go into production and have a margin. They cannot even break even. And when it comes to importation, that's what I said. I also told you that it's extremely high. Cumulatively, you are paying about 51%. So just imagine you import a goods worth about $100,000 and you are paying $50,000 as a form of tax and duty. Which businessman can survive under this dispensation? And then coupled with that, we have interest rates going as 35 to 40%. You understand? Coupled with that, we have exchange rates going to about $1 to 12 cedis. Where we pick it from $1 to 3.4 to 4 cedis. Now it's $1 to 12 cedis, over 100% increase. So now business community are really suffering. People are losing their capital. People are going off business. And if we are not careful, it will be difficult for even the locals to go into business. Because he's going to the bank to go and borrow at the rate of 40%, and his competitor from maybe UK, China or something is getting a facility for 6%. So at the goal, you are not competitive as a Ghanaian. So in fact, businesses are really struggling and suffering. Let's be sincere and frank to ourselves. When it comes to the business community, morals are even down. People and those who are into trading are also going off of trading, and they don't know what to do now. So production is not attractive. Business is not attractive.
Production is not attractive. Business is not attractive. So You are listening to Mansa Musa. This is Fire Will Burn You, and I'm with Mr. My producers are should ask for your full name. That is.
Oh yeah, my full name is my name is Joseph Paddy. I'm the director of communication for GUTA, Ghana Union of Traders Association. Yeah.
So we have Mr. Joseph Obin and Mr. Joseph Paddy. That is good to
Yeah,
know.
Mr. Joseph Obin is my a boss, is my president.
Tell Joseph is still my kid brother, so he should not. If I'm not there, he should be nice to you people.
Exactly so. And very soon he will be celebrating his 60th birthday, so you are invited in advance.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let me put it this way, that here in Britain, for instance, if government comes out with any proposal, any program, any policies, especially the ones that affect businesses and commerce and entrepreneurship, the government will have to take that sector along, when considering or setting up those programs and policies. For instance, it so came to pass not quite long ago that Europeans especially realized that the idea that they can ship all their money, the human resources, resource factor or the manufacturing base to China, after 10, 15, 20 years, China have learnt everything and now they are super rich. Meanwhile, it was the private entrepreneurs in Europe who actually supported this program or this project of outsourcing human resources. Now, when the government of UK wanted to revert to the previous sort of arrangements, they had to take the business community into consideration. Now the business community said, okay, it's all well and good for geopolitics to say that now you are bringing all the manufacturing home, you are bringing all the human resources arrangement, homegrown and everything. That is fine. But what do we do when we manufacture, let's say, a bottle of Coca-Cola, or let's say a soap, a bar of soap, or let's say a schnapp or beer? It will cost maybe £2, but in China it will cost us about 50 pence. So what do? Then the government had to say, okay, no problem. If that's the case, your employment, the human factor that you need, maybe every 200-300 people you take, pay maybe a quarter of the income tax. The rest of the 3/4, we government will add top, or any other arrangement to cushion the business. Are you saying that our government in Ghana, when they brought about this, what do we call it, one district, one factory factor, it didn't factor in your concerns that, you need the home business or the manufacturers at home will need support, a cushion, so that, imports will not be cheaper than their manufacture at home? I've gone on a bit, but I've painted a picture. I think you get me. What do you say to this?
Yeah, I get it. Exactly so. I get it. You see, that is why normally what we say is that when you slap policy on people, it will be difficult for people to run with a policy. But when the people make input into those policies, then they will run into it. What we see is that policies are normally slap on the people, on the business community. We don't make input into policies. So when you come up with those policies, it is difficult. On paper, it's workable, but on the ground, it might not be workable. That's why we have been drumming home that as every point in time, when government is coming out with a policy, when it comes to trading or business, we, those on the ground who are into trading and business, must be consulted so that we make an input into those policies. Then we can all run with it. Like you are saying, strategically, you see, the Chinese came out with cheap labor, and almost all the European countries were running there. When they realized that it's having a negative effect on their economy, they decided to reverse it. And trying to reverse it, they come out with good policies. We are going to give you rebate. Anybody who wants to go into manufacturing, anybody who wants to go into business and trading, we are going to give you some rebate. But it doesn't work in this country like that. You see, like I said, Can anybody or any businessman go to a bank and say, I'm going to go into production, therefore I want a cheaper credit? It's not done, because you are going to borrow at the same commercial rate that the trading community is also borrowing, at a rate of about 35 to 40%. No manufacturer who might want to go into manufacturing to go and borrow at the rate of 35%. So government could have come out with a policy. You meet the trading community. Those who want to go into manufacturing, we are going to give you maybe 5 years tax holidays. We are going to give you a cheap credit. Anybody who want to start a manufacturing company, there's a facility for you, maybe about 5% or 10%. But you have to struggle to go and borrow at the commercial rate from the commercial banks at the same rate that everybody is chasing. The importers are chasing the same amount. It will be difficult for you to go into manufacturing. So these are some of the things we've been complaining about. That if you are going to come, that is why we have to drum home and make sure that we have a national agenda that we all run with it. But if we are still going to depend on party agendas and party manifesto, we'll still be where we are today. So because, like I said, my brother, which manufacturer will go and borrow at the rate of 35% and even break even, or 40%? Because now when you go to Bank of Ghana, their policy rate is about 30-something percent. 29.5 or so. That's the last time I checked. And I don't know whether it's now about 30. So just imagine at the rate of 30, before the commercial bank are going to put their margin on it, is running to about 40%. So you go and borrow maybe $100,000, you are paying 40% as an interest rate on it. And no business can survive under this dispensation. So these are the difficulty that government must consult its stakeholders, because we are the stakeholders. We own the country. But how can you come and impose policies on us without even consulting your stakeholders? You see, it might look like this is what I want to do as a party, but what are your stakeholders looking for? These are the areas we should be looking at and target where we have an advantage. That, okay, we have advantage in the area of cocoa. What can we do to bring this raw material into a finished product so that we can have an upper hand on when it comes to cocoa manufacturing? We know Ghana, we're on top of it. What can we do? But all that we're still doing is exporting the raw material, and then we go and put in a finished product and bring it back to us. So it's a challenge.
You see, some of these arguments, sometimes cocoa in particular, you see, nobody in business, nobody wants to do anybody any favors at all in business. So we have the cocoa, but unless maybe we as Africans can depend on cocoa for so many different things other than just eating it or chocolate or drink or those things. Otherwise, for me, that one there, I wouldn't even mind if it is sold.
But what are we going to do? So anybody who wants to...
My point here is, I wouldn't mind if cocoa is sold raw to the first buyer, because
no, I also have a challenge with that policy. Okay. But what I'm saying is that what can you do as a government to help anybody who want to turn a cocoa product into a finished product so we can export it to get the foreign exchange?
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about.
The problem here is that the cocoa the example you have given.
I'm not talking about cocoa alone. I'm talking about the general goods.
I totally understand. I'm not pinning you to that, but I'm also trying to let's explore that particular argument. That, for instance, cocoa in particular, for me, I would say it should be sold, raw, because the competition for world market for the what we call it refined products out of cocoa is so high that people will buy Swiss chocolate. They don't produce cocoa, but the white people, the big buyers, the Japanese and the rest, they will buy Swiss chocolate than to buy Ghana chocolate. It's a fact. So for me, that is solely cocoa. But let's go into more issues about production of things. Are you saying?
Let's talk about our gold.
Okay,
we export it raw material.
Yeah, as for gold, there's a different thing. We shouldn't even be selling it. Gold, we should be keeping it. When you keep gold, you have power.
That's it.
When you keep your gold, you have power. So that's
what I'm talking about.
We'll come to that one. But I want to explore from you the point of view of you, the Guta people. A policy like one district, one factory. Are you saying to us here in Europe, in diaspora, are you saying to Mansa Musa that with all this to put it nicely or jokingly, hula baloo, with all this noise, with all this narrative, I'm sure big monies have been spent. Are you saying that it does not reflect, even at the minimum, in the in the economy? No changes at all. That okay, now we have about 200 factories producing something that we used to import, but now we don't import them again. Can you say that?
Yeah, I'm yet to see how many products we have. We can talk about Kung Fu juices and then all the tiles, the floor tiles that is being produced here. We know there are a few ones that is working. But like I said earlier on, it was a good intervention. It was a good policy. It was a good program that the government wanted to bring in place. But did you carry your people along with this product, with this program? That's what we are talking about. Because I know some few friends who wanted to go into manufacturing and production. But the bottleneck you meet on the way to go into this 1D, 1F, at what rate are you going to borrow from the bank? Just imagine you needed 1 million to go into some district to go and do manufacturing. At what rate are you going to borrow, my brother? At what rate? That's the question to ask, so that you can be competitive to your competitor. As I'm standing here today, if there's a product that I need to import, and then the cost of product abroad is about $10, and the cost of the same product with the same quality is in Ghana for $15, why will I worry my head to sit on it, go into the plane, spend about 9 hours to Dubai or 8 hours to Dubai, and go and buy the same product? I would have and then go into a hotel, sleep in a hotel for about a week. I would have preferred to buy it here because the margin, then you can see our manufacturers are competitive. But just imagine, the product that you are manufacturing here is about $15, and you travel out there and you go and get the same product with the same quality for about $6. And then after paying your duty, it's still even cheaper than that which is produced here. As a result of cost of production, where I'm talking about capital, high cost of capital, I'm talking of high cost of utility, water, electricity. At times when like I'm talking to you now, as I'm talking to you in my area, the light has gone out, and therefore if I'm to depend on generator, just imagine the number of fuel.
Since you have said, I wasn't going to say, which area are we talking about that you got light off?
I'm talking about the Makati area.
And this is not, so to speak, a downtrodden rubbish area. This is, a middle class area, isn't it?
Maybe it's a technical. It just went out for about some few minutes ago. So let's. Okay. I pray that it's not a general light of the technical issue. Yes.
Let's hope it's not doom. So and now
it's not at all.
Now that name is.
We have never experienced light off for the past few months and years, and so for some time now, our power has been very stable. I can assure you of that. Yes.
All right. Now it has become very toxic to talk about doom. Anyway, so then let me ask my. In fact, I will put this question across. Then I will allow people who are phoning to maybe also ask you questions as quickly as we can. But my next question, or what I want to find from you is that why do you think the government didn't sit down, draw up a proper policy program? I say policy program, that is the blueprint on policies. For instance, one district, one factory. If the government, tell me if I'm wrong, but if the government had sat down to say, okay, we are targeting certain products that, takes away lots of foreign currency. I mean, it demands, certain importation of certain goods, demand lots of dollars or yens or whatever money. We are going to target those areas, build our own factories and try to manufacture them locally. For instance, rice, very, 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 very expensive. Yeah. We eat a lot of rice and we import them plenty. Then sugar. I've written one second, I'll let you answer. One of my write-ups, I wrote, my title is that sugar is king. In fact, if you look at throughout whole history, since sugar was invented or found, goodness me, sugar has become king. That's why hundreds or millions of our people were taken to go and weed the sugarcane farms. Sugar is used in almost 95 to 98% of everything we do today, either as preservative, as medicine, drugs, everything, sugar. So if you have sugar, this country, we have a sugar producing factory, but they don't plant sugar cane here. So if our government has actually targeted like rice, sugar, let's say production of salt, let's say things that we need in commercial quantity like cassava that we are now importing, then meat and poultry. I sent you a write-up or something that somebody sent me that a 40-footer container of poultry in 2016 cost about 30,000 cedis to take from the port, right? It will cost you 30. Now it's 270,000. If there's a need for people to import such plenty or massive amount of poultry and people are ready to purchase, why hasn't our government been able to set up a proper poultry or meat sort of program, meat policy, poultry policy, something like, what do you think?
Yes, I agree perfectly with you. Let me be sincere with you. No country is self-sufficient.
Sure.
Every country will need to depend on somebody for maybe your raw material or whatever. Yes. Like you said, it comes back to what my earlier answers I gave to you earlier on. Because I have a friend who went into poultry farming, and he said he had about 300 birds. And then after the end of the season, when he was disposing of those birds, his profit margin was 2 birds. 2. And he said, I'm not going to go into poultry again. Why? Because cost of production in that area is extremely expensive. Extremely, extremely expensive. Because even the feed for the poultry, for your chicken and your this thing is expensive. So if, like you are saying, if like government come out with this policy where we have a competitive advantage, why can't we channel all our strength, our resources into those? For example, go to Adan, look at the normal salt that we have there. So we have an advantage over those areas. Why can't we turn our attention there? That anybody want to go to the salt manufacture or salt production, there's a facility for you, a cheaper credit that you can go into so that you can be competitive in the world market. But this is the case. Anybody want to go into it's difficult for people to penetrate into those areas because cost of production there is expensive because you need to borrow at a higher cost, a higher rate to go into this production. So these are our challenge and our difficult. My brother, in UK, like you are saying, you can go to the bank right now and go and borrow at a rate of 6%. I don't know how the cost of capital in the UK now, but I bought something online from the US and the tax element on it is about 6%. But here, cumulatively, when you put VAT and everything, it's almost about 21.something%. So it's not attractive. You are not competitive. You see, if you're going to go look at, if you're going to go into excise, you are going to go into manufacturing. You pay for excise duty, excise stamp. So when you put all these things together, you see that your product is expensive to the same quality, the same quantity from your competitor abroad. Yours is extremely expensive. So, like he's saying, somebody want to go into poultry farming, but cost of production is high, and therefore he tends up to go and import. Because when it goes to import, it's still cheaper than that which is produced here. But what can we do as a government? Why can't we help those people who are ready, our young guys and brothers and sisters who want to go into farming? You see, Ghanaians are not lazy, but the tools that the needed tools for them to go into those manufacturing concern and the farming are not there, and they have to be struggling. He goes to the bank right now. Now, do you know that if you want to go to the bank to go and borrow to go into farming, no bank is ready to support you because they think it's a long-term product, and therefore they needed it, and they are all into commercial product, and let's go to importation and export. You see, these are the difficult. But if government can come up with a policy that any Ghanaian who want to go into manufacturing, we have a facility for you. Therefore, you can go and borrow at the rate of 10%, so that you can be competitive to your. You see, when you look at the sub-region, the West Africa sub-region, I think we are one of the highest cost of doing business in the sub-region. Even when it comes to how do you call it, importation and duty, now we are the highest now, and because of that, we are losing business to our neighboring countries. Even those inland countries that used to apply our port no longer can, because the cost of doing business at our port is expensive. Now they are applying their trade in Benin, Togo, and then Nigeria and the Ivory Coast, and our port is empty. But once upon a time, there's so much heavy traffic at the port, and government was getting revenue from them because Mali and Co were applying, Burkina Faso and Co were applying our port, but now they don't because they have turned their attention to Togo because they say cost of doing business in Togo is cheaper than that of Ghana. We did some research and we went around to look at the sub-region to see the way they apply their business at the port. And when we compare, you see some of the ports, their rate is about 1%. Ghana, ours was about higher, we're the highest, about 5 to 6%. You see, so we are losing business in that vein. So my brother, like the question you asked, those that we think we have the advantage over, or we have the capacity, why can't government come and support anybody who wants to go or venture into those areas? You know, once upon a time, they came out with a product, venture capital, but we don't know what happened. It will be difficult for any businessman to go in there to even go and realize that facility to go into manufacturing. So these are the difficulty. And if you, I can assure you, as it stands now, it will be difficult for people to still go into whatever you name it, 1D, 1F, which is a laudable and a good idea. But to go for funds to go into that 1D, 1F, it's difficult. It's a challenge. Yes.
Let's see. Those who have called, and let's see if we can hear anything. The gentleman in Accra is not on Zoom, so make your questions straightforward, precise and quick, and it should be, something like 8303. Hello. 8303. Hello.
Yeah, NFM Radio. Can you hear me?
Okay, hang on a second. I can hear you, but let me sort out these. Okay. Right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Very good. So now, that is Yusuf. Yusuf, what have you got for us? Mr. Joseph Paddy is the PRO for Guta, and he's taking time off his schedule to come and have a good conversation with us. Their activity affects or benefits, either it affects or benefits almost everybody, including you and myself. Whether you send goods to Ghana or you send money for things to be bought in Ghana, whatever you do to affect. So, well, take it away. What do you want to ask him?
Yes, I was listening to you when you were asking him questions, and he made some important points regarding, the higher tax.
Hang on a second. Mr. Paddy, can you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear him, but if you can amplify his voice a little, that would be very great. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, when you asked him, and he was actually explaining the difficulties that they are facing, for exporters are facing and importers are, as well as manufacturers are facing due to the higher tax rate, which is very true. And he also said that when government is introducing any policy, it will be good for them to actually contact them, and hear from them, which is very good, But all I can say is that all these failures, economic failures, is due to the incompetence of the so-called economists and the policymakers of our nation today, because they know very well, before even this gentleman will say something, that they should contact them. They know how you can boost GDP. They know what are ways economic growth can be achieved. If you are an economist, you should know this. And you should know that all these higher tax rates, has to be reduced. Government will have to reduce the tax, reduce borrowing cost, and also empower manufacturing. These are the necessary steps which has to be taken. And this is what is not happening in Ghana today. Because for our economy to grow, government needs to intervene and make sure that, the manufacturers are being empowered. We should be able to produce cost effectively, when there are government subsidies or taxes being reduced. So what I can say is that I will not blame anyone, but I'll blame the incompetence of the policymakers.
Okay.
Because they should know. They should know.
All right. It's only fair that we allow Mr. Joseph Paddy to respond to that. Paddy, Mr. Yusuf has taken the political angle to this discussion. It's only fair.
Yes, he said it all. I think I appreciate
before
where
you
he's
carry on, before you continue, let me read this this one too on the Facebook. Ni Latte, he said, Mansa Musa, 1D1F is not a policy, but a slogan which was used by the MPP to deceive the electorates in the general election. In fact, that those the fonts are too small, so I can't read it. But yeah, so sharing the same sentiment as Yusuf. Okay, Paddy, let's go. Carry on.
I think the line was faint, someone on the line, but I appreciate where he's coming from. For example, Mansa Musa, for example, let me use you as an example. Now you are in the diaspora, you've traveled out there, you want to come to Ghana, and then maybe you want to help the economy by coming out with a product. Would you, be all sincere to yourself, would you want to go into business or into production or into manufacturing where you need to go to the bank to go and borrow at the rate of 40%? Would you do that?
Well,
you see, this is the worrying situation.
If I borrow at 40% and get 200% returns, then I will.
But what business can you do in Ghana, in the world today, that you can even maximize profit and go have a profit margin of 100%? It's not possible. It's not done. No business can survive under this space that you can go into business and get 100% profit on your product. It's not possible. It's not possible. You see, that is the worrying situation that we and what I've been when I meet our politicians, what I tell them that what is the point that you are holding on to economic power, and you are holding on to political power, and you don't have the economic power, because somebody will use his economic power to influence your political power, and that is where we find ourselves as a country today. That is why you could see that. Oh, look, my brother, look around the whole country. All the economic power are in the hands of foreigners. Our banks are for foreigners. Our telecos are for foreigners. The extractive industry are in the hands of foreigners. Even trading are falling into the hands of foreigners. Because when they come to all our malls, the malls belongs to Chinese and Lebanese and Indians. So it's like as a country and as a people, we don't hold on to economic power. All that we have is the political power, and they will always use their economic power to. That is why recently our CD suffered that shipwreck, where these foreigners wanted to take their money out of the country, and there was so much pressure on our foreign exchange. That is why it went up at that astronomically. So government should come to a point where what can we do to help the indigenes, our own, to be economically empowered, so that what comes when the outsiders or the foreigners want to leave the country, the economic power will still be in the hands of Ghanaians. And this is where I believe any government that will come to power should be looking at. But all that we see is that we bite ourselves, another government comes to power and then antagonize his other opponent, another particular. And if we position ourselves in that way, we will not grow as a country. And this is the time has come that the youth of the day, we must change the status quo, where we say that economic power must be in the hands of Ghanaians. We make the environment so favorable that Mansa Musa and his team, who are in the UK, can come down to Ghana and say, now this is our own. What can we help to bring manufacturing, to bring production into our own people at a cheaper rate? Because what is the point when you come and manufacture a product and then it's not affordable and you cannot pay? And I know people who have come to start something here and they have to go back. They lost all their capital. They lost their money. I have to be sincere with you. They have to go back. There was a gentleman who wanted to go into the manufacturing of spare parts, oil filters, and he started somewhere along the line. Less than 1 year, he folded up and left. I know a gentleman who was going into the manufacturing of nails, the nails that we used for roofing. He had about 120 employees that he was working with. Someone along the line, he folded up, closed the factory, and started importing nails from China. Because cost of production was high. See, these are the difficulties. These are the reality on the ground. This is not about politics.
You see, the point is, Mr. Paddy, you see, for me, you, because of your position, I didn't want to, indulge you or involve you in pure partisan politics. But all what you have explained just points out to simple, what we call it, I mean, the reasons why we are here is in poor management of our economies. Because like you are saying, if someone sets up a factory to manufacture or produce nails, then he finds out that, it's better for me to import the nails than to manufacture them here. Knowing very well that when you say cost of production, you and I know very well that cost, of employment or the human, how do I say it, the cost of employment is far, far, far cheaper in Ghana than it is in China. So what is causing this high production cost? What is making that cost so high? And you have answered it. So many taxes. And at the same time, government says, we are encouraging business, we are encouraging production, we are encouraging manufacturing. It's big talk. But taxing people out of business can never make, a good economic judgment or sense. And yet, it's still happening. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's still happening. You see, now business are being milked so much so that it's like a cow. When a cow has a milk and you milk the cow so much, you keep on squeezing the breast of the cow. At the end of it, or when the milk is finished, all that you're going to see is blood. And that is what is happening to Ghanaian businesses. Ghanaian businesses have been milked so much in the area of taxation, and therefore businesses are not growing. Because how can you bring, for example, a Toyota Corolla from US, a 2016 Toyota Corolla, you bought it for like $3,000, you pay a freight for about $900 or $1,000, making it $4,000, and you come and pay a duty for about 45,000 Ghana cedis, which is more than the cost of the item itself. This is the only country that I see that the cost of tax is more than the cost of the item. It's only in this country. You understand? So these are the worrying situation. You see, and because of the Ghanaian businesses are not growing. I don't know. You see, when we have a VAT 15%, NHI, when you pick one duty paper, the tax component you see on it is about 28, my brother, almost 21 to 28. NHI, VAT, special levy 2%, ECOWAS levy, EDI fund, this fund, about you can cut about 21 taxes cumulatively put together. You see, so how would businesses grow? That is why we are saying that as much as we business community, we don't do politics. We have interest in politics because politics is about policy making. One bad policy can destroy your business. So like what you are doing, I appreciate, Mansa Musa, where you are coming from, what you are doing to educate the people. Let the whole Ghanaian community to appreciate and understand that when we don't guide our politicians to give us a good policy to work with, one bad policy can destroy our businesses. And that is what we are saying, that you see, and anytime we go for meeting and we complain in those areas, we don't have answers from government that the tax rate in the country is high. Our tax rate is high.
I see.
And that is the bane of the whole issue. If our tax rates can come down, businesses will grow. Because when business grow, then your revenue grow. But it looks in this part of the
Mr.
country.
Paddy, I think now that ship has sailed, because the IMF is demanding that a government finds money to plug some holes. I mean, the whole economy is being... Look, we are talking as if there is some fresh chance somewhere. But where we have the economy crashed, everywhere, even to the state that the Bank of Ghana itself is being crashed. I mean, let me ask this gentleman. Is it 800? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Is it Mr. Dr. Mensha?
Yes, Mansa Musa, you are right.
Dr. Mensha, let's go. Your question to Mr. Joseph Paddy.
Yeah. My question is, they are aware of all these massive tax and the rest, the government is not supporting local businesses. Aside that, the government give huge tax waivers to foreign companies and neglecting the local companies. My question is, why are they silent?
You mean they? Who are the they?
The business community in Ghana.
Ah, okay.
Why are they silent? Because they can decide to force the government to do the right thing. If they lay down their businesses, the government will compel to do the right thing. But they are not doing it. Most of them is because of partisan lineages and others. No country can survive without these businessmen. They can compel the government, but they are not doing it. Because of some of them, because of their selfish interests and others.
Hang on there, let me put
So ask him, why are they silent?
Hang on. I'll let you carry on. Don't worry. I'm not going to take you out. Let me ask Mr. Paddy. You see, Mr. Paddy, here in UK, it is generally observed or known that businesses, entrepreneurship and the rest, they support the Conservatives. But I can tell you that irrespective of whichever party is running UK or the UK PLC, right? Whichever party is in charge, if policies go against the business community, goodness me, they give that government earful. They shout. They made the government very unpopular. So the fellow Dr. Mansa's question is very much valid, that why is the business community in Ghana now going like softly for this Akufo-Addo administration in particular? Meanwhile, previous governance, they didn't have it easy from the business community. Why are you, not you personally, but your organization, why are you quiet or soft on this government?
Yes, yeah, we've not been soft. You see, you know how the country has been polarized. The country has been divided into two. If it is not red, it is blue. You see, why is it so? Because we don't have one common front. That is why we find ourselves where we find ourselves. And you can have your say and we'll have our way. That's what's happening in the country at the moment. Say whatever you want to say, we want to have our way. Because we have been so polarized. That because of that, we don't have one common front. And, and as a pressure group, we will do all the pressure. We do. We remember once upon a time, government came out with some policy and we said we are against that policy. And he went ahead to implement it. We closed our shops for about a week. And the government have to change his mind on that particular policy. That's what. So we are a pressure group. Where necessary, we come out with pressure. But as much as possible, there are a way to dialogue. There are a way to compromise. But so where government is not meeting us somewhere along the line, then you see the agitation coming out strongly. And so we have had a series of demonstrations against past government government in power and government out of power. We have had a series of demonstrations. That one I can show. And if not because of even that, some of the things that were going to be imposed on the business community, like all of us will have gone back to our villages. Even with this position now, as Guta, as a exactly, yes. Exactly. So we were telling government.
I would take it as he said, but I am not based on the information that I have. They are not doing enough, because let me give you an example. The business community in Ghana, we are aware of a local content policy, but another issue is he aware that the government keep giving tax waivers to foreign companies and neglecting local companies? What are they doing about it? Are they also enjoying same? Okay, no, I tuned in late, so maybe if you've captured it, that's fine. So why are they silent on that? Why are they silent?
Yes. You see, I appreciate where doctor is coming from. You see, like you are saying, exemptions are really given. They are given to foreign companies, and we know that when you go to the free zone board, free zone area, these foreign expatriates, they get a lot of exemptions in the detriment of its local indigents. You see, these are the worrying situation we find ourselves in. So it's like foreigners enjoy in the country more than its own people, and it's not a secret. It's an open secret that we all know. And then the kind of things they do at the free zone, somebody will come in the name of manufacturing concern. He get all the rebates, he get all the exemptions, and after 5 years he folded up, go and open a new company, and after 5 years he folds up, go and open, and still enjoying those exemptions. So these are the things that we all know. It's an open secret. We can't hide from. We can't pretend to be like ostrich. We know that this is what is going on in the country, and these are the things. And if just imagine one exemption for an expatriate company, if they were to pay all their taxes and they are not giving exemption, just two can take care of the whole country. The volume of exemptions they repatriate from this country, and then when we even came out with a program. We told government that if any foreign company that wants to do business here, at least at the end of the year of accountability, his profit margin, I think 3% must be for retention. He must put the 3% back into the company for it to grow, so he can employ more Ghanaians. We also came out with a proposal. Anybody who wants to go into a mall, a shopping mall or something, at least on the shelf line, we must see 30% of made in Ghana products. But I can assure you, go to all the malls and see whether we see made in Ghana product on their shelf line. Who is monitoring? Who is evaluating their activities? That is what so this comes as a result of institutional failure that we've been complaining about. Yeah. Oh, your line drop. If I should get, yeah. Yeah, exactly. If it's not Kofi, it should be Amma. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. No. No, not at all. I see. In fact, our research team is working. Some very soon. We're going to come back with a program on that. This issue that you have raised. But whether it is NDC that built it or it's NPP that built it, it's Ghana's money. The money is not for NDC. Neither is the money for NPP. The money is for Ghanaians. And then we must make sure whatever is for Ghanaians, we should be able to protect it. You see, but it's not that we are afraid or scared of any government. That's what I'm saying. Who knows? Who knows that we once upon a time we voted for NDC? Who knows once upon a time we voted for NPP? Because we want to see the policy. Like, because most times when it's come, that's what I'm saying, that what is killing this country is that because we don't have a national agenda. So a party will come out with just imagine, for example, let's be sincere to ourselves. If a party comes to us and said, the trading community, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to turn your taxation into production. Won't you buy into that idea? You will have to buy. Yeah, you buy into it because it's a good policy. Oh yes, yes. You see. So obviously the trading community will be happy with that. That now because like I said earlier on, we complain about huge taxes. So if a government is coming into power and said, I'm going to move all this taxation to production, and meanwhile, those of us who are into import and export want to go into manufacturing concern, will buy into this idea. So and then, but at the end of it all, there's one thing saying it, and there's another thing implementing it. So when it comes to that, then we advise ourselves. So we listen to all their manifestos, and then we decipher and see. And I can assure you, some of us have voted right, because at every point in time, we don't look at the colors, but we look at the policy that the person is going to come out with. So whether Segleme or Pokwasi, it's for Ghanaians, and we should be able to protect that. So like I told you, Guta, we are doing some research. Our research team is working, and we'll come out with our position in that direction. And normally, what we do is that.
Guta could have just told the government, hey, how much will this Commander Sugar Factory cost? What? And the cost of it to get it running. The government says, oh, we need another 5 million for planting or something and repair a bit of maintenance. Guta could have just got that $5 million and own, public-private entity. Own that plant.
Yes.
But Guta
yes.
is looking while the plant is rotting away.
Yeah, that you see because we are the reason why we are quiet on that area. You see, because of the legal issues surrounding it. You see the legality, and no businessman want to go venture into an area where there's so much legal issues surrounding a program or a project. Oh yeah.
The facility is built already. What are the legal
yes. The legal constraints is that the prices has been inflated, and we are now looking into it. There's inflation of prices. We are now looking into it, and there's this just.
No, listen. That is nothing to do with the business enterprises of the day. The point is, what I'm saying is, it has been built, so it has to be utilized. So the government
exactly.
its investigations to bring persons who have committed certain malpractices to book. That is a different matter. But
that's a different matter.
Do the plant, run it, while government is still looking for people to put in bluntly who has chopped the money. What is about? Oh, because of the court cases. We are not running the country properly.
Yes, can I make my last contribution?
No businessman will want to put his money into where. So at the end of the day, if after the legalities that surrounds it went the other way around, what happens to that businessman? You see, so and every businessman wants to be protected. So these are the things that we're looking for, and because we don't have one common front, that is one of the difficulty and the challenge. And now it looks like it's a party manifesto, party agenda, and therefore another party comes. This is my manifesto. This is my. So if we can all come together, including you who are the diaspora, can come together and say, let's have a national agenda in the next 5 years. This is where we want to see education. Yes. Yes. We need it. We need it. You see, whether it's a Democrat or it's a Republican, when they come, their movie is America. Yes.
Yeah, Madam, before I leave, I've started a project where I'm going to urge Ghanaians to occupy Saglemi House. The property, they should occupy them because it was built with taxpayers' money. Okay, but what I'm saying is to Guta, representative here, is that I will advise that I believe when NDC is going to prepare their manifesto, and I'm sure they will engage them. So my advice is when they engage you, you make sure all what you need is captured in the NDC manifesto. And it should not end there. When the government comes to power, you must ensure that your input is manifested, your input is implemented. And you have to let the party aware that if they fail to implement it, you are going to make the government ungovernable during their term. And they'll be compelled to do that. But sometimes they don't do it. That's why I'm saying that, as you are aware, the deposed Gabon president said, you should make noise. You should make noise. You should also make noise so that your voice will be heard.
Yeah.
To force the government to do the right thing. So all what I will say is try to make your words heard by the people. And the government will compel to do the right thing. Because this government, all what they need is to force them through protest, through demonstration. That is what is left to Ghanaians. If you decide to go to the courts are shrouded with corrupt people. For instance, just yesterday or so, NDC sent a suit to the court to injunct. But I'm giving you an example. It's an example. Let me finish and go. No, I'm giving an example, Mansa Musa, so that your listener will not get what I'm saying. And they have to set a date for the motion to be moved. The Chief Justice, Tokonu, said he has traveled, and until he returns, the date will not be set. Is it the country we are building? Is that what we want?
That is a farce. I mean, Chief Justice leaves the city, so the judicial service has stopped working. It's wrong. That is, we all know it's a farce. It's a farce.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, listen, thank you too. Thank you, and keep coming with salvos.
Yeah. You think we have? And what is our national agenda? And do you have a blueprint? Exactly. That is why I'm saying that we have a national agenda, but what is the blueprint? Yeah. 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 We have I agree. We have a national agenda. Mansa Musa, I agree with you. We have a national agenda in terms of education, in terms of medicals, in terms of the economy. We have it. But what is a blueprint for that national agenda to be achieved? Because somebody is coming under on the wheels of party manifesto, not national manifesto. That is the issue. You see, somebody is coming on party manifesto.
Hang on. In politics, in this,
yes,
unless we want to do union government, but if we are going to do multi-party democracy, you cannot draw a policy for one part for one same policy for the whole of the parties. No. They bring their policies.
No, this is what this is where Ghana. No, Ghana.
Go ahead.
Ghana. This is where we want to go in the next 20 years. MPP, where are you taking us in the next 20? This is where we want to go in the next 20 years. NDC, what do you want to do to take us to that? You see, it's like a vision. You see, you must make the vision plain, and those who see it will run with it.
I totally agree with you that, look, if anybody who says we don't have a national agenda, I do not agree. The national agenda is to improve the lives of the people. The national agenda is to live peacefully with our neighbors. The national agenda is to have trains running from Morocco all the way to Cameroon. The national agenda is to have rice mills, cocoa, maize or corn mills. We should have big wheat factories. This is a national agenda. The parties come with their policies. And when the policies fail, we have to be brave and kick them out. If we keep changing them, they will learn like America they do. We cannot just give them excuses that, we don't have national agenda. We don't have national agenda. For that, I don't buy into it. Mr. Man from Goso, hello. You are on Zoom. Can you tell us what you want to say?
Hello.
Yes,
good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening to yourself.
Listen.
All right, let me
listen. I beg you. Listen. Hang on. I beg you. Put your phone close to your mouth because the man is listening through my system here, and if it's not clear, he will not hear it. So please talk slowly. Clearly, and make it simple. Take it away. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. Land of national agenda. I want to ask Mr. Peli if he's aware of the Senchi summit. What went on? That the MPP refused to go. I want to know whether he's aware of that. So where there was a conscious effort made by a government to have a national policy, just as maybe he's wishing for, and some parties decided they will not take part, and that is a joke. And for the fact that people like Akuya Donko and others were invited, they will not attend. Are those people nationalistic? Are they not the people that we are supposed to blame? And in fact, I'm very much aware the document has been compiled and has been submitted to the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. What is he doing, or what has he done about that document? It is in the shelves, it is on the shelves gathering dust. So if he has anybody to blame, then he should not bring NDC and he should not lump the two parties together. He should be bold and courageous to call those nation rakers out. That's what he should be doing.
Okay.
Because he was in this country when the summit was called to have a national dialogue on the way forward. And what did the other parties do? That they
I think you've made your point very clear.
Okay,
I really love this position.
Yeah, Paddy.
I really love the position of the gentleman. That is true. You see, do you remember when we were even writing our constitution, some group of people didn't participate? That is the issue. Yes,
and also to add more beef to what he said. He said, I think, is it Senchi, Mahama organized some people, let's all go and, reason up and think about how to come out of this dilemma. And he was laughed at, poo-poo, then nobody joined. Now, another one, recently, or not long ago, Mahama came out with another proposal to gather people to think about the economic, even before the IMF and everything. All that one too, I think, almost everybody said, oh, don't mind him, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So for us to still keep on talking about national agenda, I don't know what we are going to, what exactly we want and how we are going to get it.
Yes, that is why we, the citizens, that is why we, the stakeholders, must force our people to do the needful. Because I can assure you, I was talking to two group of people, two friends. One is a strong MPP, one is another strong NDC. And look at the language that came out of their lips. One said, oh, me, I'm a die-hard MPP, but I'm not going to vote for MPP. And then the NDC man says, oh, me, so I'm an NDC, but they are all the same. Look at the perception about the Ghanaian, that they are all the same now, because when it suits them, they all toe in line. But when it doesn't suit them, that's when you see the divided front. For example, when they are talking about their ex-gratia, do you see any divided front? They're all toe in the same line.
Mansa Musa, I wanted to make a point, but unfortunately, I did not finish. Sorry to cut Mr. Paddy in, but the issue is that there are some people whose voices carry weight more than the ordinary citizen. For instance, if you have an association like Guta, if Guta decides to embark on a demonstration, the whole country will shake. The foundation of the country will be shaking. You just suppose that to an NDC calling for a demonstration. I mean, it will be an NDC fanatic. But when Guta, as a body that, deals daily, on a daily basis, knows about the economy very well, more than
I think your point. I like your point. You see, Mr. Paddy, we can say that within your Guta, you are divided, aren't you?
And most of
you, the Guta.
No, Guta, we have one common front.
No. As for the one common front, I totally agree. I agree with the one common front. Fine. But politically, you are divided. It will be very difficult for you to organize yourself that, look, we are going to march Choboy.
No. That's a perception. But politically, we are not divided. You see, our issue, Guta, we all that we're looking for a good policy to work with. So any government that will come and give us a good policy, we're going to go with you. But unfortunately, when it happens, that when they come to power, they say one thing when they're out of power. And when they are in power, the order they said, we are not able to hold them to their words. I can assure you that in the 2020 election, listen to me, in the 2020 election, the former president, John Mahama, invited us, Guta, to his office and then said, I want to do when I come to power, I want to do A, B, C, D. We want your input in the business community. What do you want? We want to hear from you so that we can add it to our. We were invited. But I raised an issue. I said, once upon a time, you brought a VAT on the banking sector. That when we put our money at the bank, at the end of every month, they were taxing us VAT on our money. Well, some of the money in the bank is not all is our profit. Some are our capital. But they keep on taxing us. But and it was then he was explaining that the intention wasn't the intention. But because we were not made to make input into that policy, we kick against it. And true to the words of when this new government came, he took that policy out of the banking sector. Now, how can you put your money in the bank and at the end of the month, the bank will tax you a VAT on it as a tax, where they don't determine which one is your profit and which one is your capital. So these are the issues we talk. So we go with in fact,
this has brought my mind to. I was going to finish with this point, but it has brought my mind back to one issue, and that is the e-levy. E-levy is almost like the VAT you are talking about. At the moment, when you have 10,000 in your wallet, which you have transferred to go and purchase a cow, like somebody gave an example, the cow you pay VAT on it. The market you slaughter, you pay some taxes there or some tickets you have to buy here and there. Then the money transferred because it's electronic, that one too, it has been, and you guys are very, very comfortable with e-levy.
No, who said, we kick against e-levy? The whole country, we are against e-levy. So I'm surprised somebody will say that we were comfortable with e-levy. Just yesterday, I went to a manufacturing company, those who manufacture covers for these sewage tanks.
Covers,
and
yeah.
the woman was telling me, I'll go and buy, I'm producing this covers, this one covet, and I'm going to buy a cement. I pay VAT on it. I send my driver to to go and buy sand, and then the council is taking him VAT on it. And then even the water bill that comes, there's VAT component on it. So one production, the element cascading effect of VAT. So these are the areas. So not that we were interested in the e-levy. No Ghanaian will say he was interested in the e-levy. That's why we fought it and then they brought it down. But even still, we were even proposing 0.5.
On the other hand, let me play the devil's advocate. If all these taxes, all this VAT you are talking about, all these 28 components, different taxes you see at the port when you want to clear your vehicle or anything, if this monies, and when you come to Accra or Kumasi or any centers, good roads everywhere. In fact, if we can hear that, they have started the underground tunnel for Accra. If water is flowing, and irregularly, electricity, everything, if the services, then at least we can live with all these heavy taxes. But after all these taxes, you can really, agree with me that, the situation is still the same, high and dry, isn't it?
Yes, exactly so, exactly. Because that is why even Ghanaians will ask this question. All this money you have been collecting from, what are you using them for? And it's in the mouth of all Ghanaians that you've been collecting these monies from us. And what are you using all these monies for? So it's a question that you and I should keep on asking. That those money that is being collected, those huge VATs, those huge tax, those money from the port. And at the end of the day, we keep on going to borrow money too. So all the money, internal generated funds, what are we using them for? It's a question that you and I should keep on asking. Because once upon a time, I remember I asked the question that when you go to the port, there's something we call ECOWAS levy. And that you pay on your duty. And I asked myself, all the ECOWAS rules, how good are the ECOWAS rules? You know, from Aflao passing to Elubo is an ECOWAS rule.
Yes.
But look at those rules. How bad they are. So the monies ECOWAS is collecting for, what are they using the monies for? There should be accountability. If we're to be abroad, they will be accountable.
Yes.
That this year, this is what the ECOWAS funds generated, and this is what we use it for. But there's no accountability. Since ECOWAS came into session, the ECOWAS funds that they've been taking, ECOWAS levy that we've been paying at the port, I don't remember the last time they accounted for. So it's a challenge. You see, as a country, people we don't hold people for accountability.
Let's take one more call from a caller from northwest of England. Kwesi?
Yeah, Mansa Musa.
Take it away. Your question to Guta PRO.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Guta, man, my name is Kwesi. Guta, you have really disappointed we Ghanaians, more so some of us in the diaspora. You've allowed this government to slap a whole lot of import duties and levies on goods and things. We in the diaspora cannot even bring things home. Now all the ports are dry because Guta has turned themselves to be a political tool. That is where we are. When Dramani Mahama was in power, you guys fought the man tooth and nail. Where are you so docile, Guta? Before I come to my second question. Now all the ports, if you go to Tama, if you go to Takwari, the ports are empty because we in the diaspora cannot bring things over because of the import duty.
All right.
Why Guta? I have a second question.
Your first question. But Kwesi, before he answers, may I ask, did you start listening to us from the beginning?
No, you see, not from the beginning. If you spoke something about the beginning, I wasn't, halfway through I came in.
Fair enough. I will let him answer. But all what you have mentioned, he has already elaborated. But because you said you didn't start with us, I understand. Mr. Apadi, I think you have to repeat your previous comment.
Yes. You see, let me assure the gentleman that Guta, we are not in bed with any government. Any government that will come and give us good policy, we're going to work with you. You see, when it comes to, once in recent time we had a demonstration against this current government. We demonstrated, we closed our shops against it, and then we were called. And then we told government what needed to be done, and they withdraw that policy they were going to come out with. In the same vein, Muhammad's time, we demonstrated, we closed, we came with it. You see, but before we get to that point, you see, until we hit that wall, it's not always closing of shops that does the magic. Negotiation at times also do the magic. You see, so Guta, we are not in bed with any government, but all that we're doing, we are a pressure group that put pressure on government to do the needful. Like you rightly said from the beginning, the benchmark levy that came. You see, WTO, World Trade Organization policy is that we should use transactional values for our duties at the port. But when you get to the port, they don't use transactional, they use benchmark values and commissioners' values. And that is the worrying that we have been fighting against all this. I say, why, if WTO say use transactional value, the invoice, the face of invoice that you brought, that's what should be used to calculate your duty. How do you call it? GRA or customs also come with their own values. And that's what we've been fighting front and back. And that's why they came out with the benchmark value. Let's benchmark. And we've been saying the benchmark values were just a tool. But then let's go by the WTO convention, which says use transactional value. So if you're in UK and you bought something for £10, they are going to look on the £10 to calculate your duty for you. They will not even hike you, say, I'm going to give you a benchmark. I think when I went to the net, it was £20. Therefore, you have to pay duty of £20. But they don't know your negotiation skills, how you got it at £10. You see, so if WTO say, let's use transactional value, and because it doesn't favor government, the government will not even yield to that. They want to use transactional value. They want to use, benchmark value, and then the commission's value. So, Guta, we are always for the trading community, because if our business dies, then we have to go back to our villages. And if we sit down for government to come up with a policy that is not going to favor businesses and that is going to kill businesses, that one will stand against it. We've done that a couple of times. Not only Muhammad's regime, even President Akufo-Addo regime, we did the same. And they have withdrawn. You see, and some of the things, we go to negotiation table and they withdraw it. They review it before it comes to the public domain. And therefore, we don't have to come and drum on it. That is because some of the policy, we have really come with interventions. So now, recently, the finance minister invited us, and we told him that they should engage the trading community so that we can also come with our input, any policy that they're going to come out with. So recently, when they're going to read the media budget, we were invited, and we made a policy, and he said he has heard our input, and it's a welcome, and therefore the main budget that is going to come out in November for 2024, they will make those inputs. So this is where we stand.
Mr. The second and the final one. You see, Mr. When you were giving your submission, I listened carefully. It got to a point you were batching both NPP and NDC together. Please don't do that. Let me explain. You see, when NDC was in power, they got to know that there was a need for national policy. So there was a gentleman called Neil Roy Thompson. I don't know whether you've heard his name before. When they were there, they were putting together national policy so that Ghana can move into a national policy area. Then we can improve the nation. NPP took over. They've stopped that agenda. And I believe, Guta, you guys, you know it. You should have pushed this government to still carry on with the national policy started by JDM. But you are all quiet. Why?
Yeah, but we are not. Guta is not the only pressure group. We have other pressure groups. The think tanks are also there. The CSOs are there. So it shouldn't be only Guta's business alone.
Because you are here, that's why he's addressing to Guta. Because the other CSOs, they are not here. So I think you have to bear with. Yes.
Agreed, perfect. But what I'm saying is that the burden of putting pressure on government of the day to do the needful does not depend on only Guta. Yeah. All of us must, including some of you that like what you are doing now, educating the public in the diaspora. It's also part of the program that we are all looking for. In fact, we must come to a point that Ghanaians, we must see ourselves as Ghanaians and build that consensus. Otherwise, if we are not careful, these politicians will divide our front. Because if it suits them, they go for it. If it doesn't suit them, and they tell you, recently you heard what is happening, that they will fight in Parliament House, but when they go out, they go and eat together. You understand? Yes. You see,
Good. Mr. Gutterman,
so
let me go. Let me go. Let me give you this small message. This one I'll beg you. You see, Gutta, they should do something for business in Ghana to grow. And let me send this message through you. You Gutta group should make sure that you fight for us to get independent Ghana police. If you get independent Ghana police, that will stand for everybody. Mr. Gutterman, let me assure you, Ghana businesses will grow. You guys should begin to fight for us to get independent Ghana police, Mr. Gutterman. Thank you so much and God bless you. You are giving us a good information. Thank you.
Let me answer to this question. Because just about 3 days ago, my president called me and said, Paddy, let's revamp our economic team. Gutta has an economic team that will work on some of this. Let's revamp our economic team, and we have a security team too. So we were putting something together in that vein. Because so when we hear some of the things in the airwaves and on the ground, we don't take them lightly. We want to work with it. So recent time there was a challenge with these foreigners into the retail sector. We came out with a proper. We did our research, and do you know what? Somebody will come from China and said, "I'm coming to do manufacturing." And then he will go to GIPC, Ghana Investment Promotion Council, and they give him a certificate that go and do your manufacturing at Kaswa. Before you could say Jack, he's trading at Okanshi or Tudu. You see, so who monitored the activity of this foreigner? Who evaluated their after giving the license out? Do you go and monitor his activity and evaluate? And Gutta, we did that work. If I can tell you, we have over 100 and something foreigners who are illegally trading in doing retail in the retail sector, and which we have put before the minister to look into that. You see.
All right. Listen, you've done well. Not many people, have this courage to come and face Mansa Musa, and sometimes I would say very hostile sort of responders. But you've done very well, and you have you've put up a very good response or reply or a fight, which is really, really good. Hopefully going forward, we will all come to the understanding that politics as it is all for the betterment or to improve our living standards in any form, be it being, access to hospitals, to schools, the availability of schools in local neighborhoods, the access to the transport, easier to access transport, the fares, whatever it is in UK here that is expensive now. Public transport is still very affordable. Very, very affordable. If you are in London, rent will kill you. But food is still very affordable. Very, I can say. You see, we must fight for these things. And me, people who have read my write-ups and listened to me, Mr. Paddy, they will tell you, I'm not flattered. That sentiment, that mentality, everything Europe, America, then you are feeling big. No. I have learned from the Nkrumah ideology. What is good from here, we take it away. But where we have you see, another point to your business is that when we have about, let's say, conservative figure of about 10,000 politicians in Africa, and almost 95% of them do take their holidays, not in Africa, take their holidays in Europe and America, go and spend their hard currencies away. Imagine if a Nigerian goes to Gambia for holiday, if a Gambia go to Kenya, if a Kenya go to Botswana, if a Botswana go to South Africa, if a South Africa goes to Cameroon, if vice versa, the local economy, all this is what we should be fighting for. It's not only trading and buying and selling, but the politics, our way of life, is not helping us. How long are we going to trek all these journeys for people to die in the seas? These young boys and girls, they were left in the desert to die. You see, we need a proper fight. It's not about a partisanship, but the knowledge that we need to live a proper life. And we don't have to always be going begging. Look, I will give you another example. I'm telling you all this, the recording, you can have it on YouTube and in Facebook. You can refer to it anytime. Look, recently we had climate summit in Kenya. And the Kenyan president's address is all about begging, asking the rich countries to pay their way out of these climate negotiations. Fine. But what I'm thinking is, Africa with its wealth, Jesus Christ, the things that we have on this continent, we're still asking people so-called who are rich in in paper richness. They don't have the wealth and minerals that we have. We still ask them to pay for us. Look at the wealth we have, my brother. We still have to rely on China to build the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa. Are we human beings or we are not? This is the mentality I want to sell across. So I will thank you very much and refer to anybody who just think that, oh, we are here to do politics parties. No. I am here. My agenda is to carry on and extend and try to, come up with the Nkrumahism. That Nkrumah wanted us. We can also live like them, like these people we are always chasing. Because you build your industries, you build your factories, you sell them into your market in the neighborhood. Those who are good at rearing cows and goats, they also sell it to us. This is what is happening elsewhere, except in Africa, where we have become importers. Everybody does, manufactures and we import. It's wrong. Mr. Paddy, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully this will not be the last time. And when we go to the party to enjoy the birthday bash, I have a glass of whiskey on me. Thank you.
Very grateful. So now, per all that you have narrated and enumerated, you know that our issue, you also agree with people who says Africa, Ghana, and for that extension Africa, we have a leadership crisis.
Oh yes. Look, if you start me, we will not wake up to this afternoon tonight. We will not.
All right. So we'll call you another time. Yes, I'll be available for you anytime you call on me.
The leadership is rotten. Because if there was leadership, sense of any leadership in Africa, by now they would have had about 10 conferences, major high-level conferences, as to why our kids are running away from their base, their homelands. Why? The question is simple. Why is everyone go to U.S. Embassy in Ghana, everywhere? Why do our people, our young people, the backbone of our future economy, future existence, why is it that all of them want to go away? If we had leadership, we don't have leadership. It's rubbish.
Right.
Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Cheers.
Thank you.
NFM Radio.
Sydney Discotech, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo.
Oye.
To say thank you to all of you, everybody, numerous of people listening on the radio and few of you on Facebook. Nilati, Mr. Nilati, thank you very much for your messages. The last one a bit longish and I didn't read it, but I share the same sentiments that, I didn't, because this Mr. Paddy at least came to, found time to have a long discussion with us. I didn't want us to bombard him with this sentiment, but Nilati, I share with you all what you've written. Tomorrow, I'm looking at bringing someone else If not tomorrow, it will be Sunday. But listen, have all of you have a good evening, and let's do it all over again, God willing, inshallah. Bye-bye.
Mansa Musa, Mansa Musa,